Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. This is CAC TV and this is the Women's Guild Week 2025. It's yet another year where the women, we get to celebrate the women all over the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And the week will go all the way with the activities, the acts of mercy, and eventually they will have their climax service on Sunday the 1st. So are you part of the Women's Guild? Please drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching us from on CAC TV Kenya Facebook, CAC Digital KE on YouTube. And we'll appreciate to know where you're watching us from. And also we are on Pang Signal platform. Let us know where you're watching us from again. Tonight we are going to discuss about GBV, and we are joined by a young, soft-spoken, mellowed voice, Reverend Mary Njeri from ACCS, where she ministers. Mary Njeri, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm very well.
You're well?
I'm delighted. Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Yes. So Mary, Reverend Mary Njeri, how are you? Where have you been ministering before? ACCS is your first point of ministry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. My name is Mary, and mostly I go with Mary Mwangi.
Mary Mwangi.
I take my surname, Mwangi, for purposes of maybe belongingness in one way or the other. I have been ministering with ACCNS, that is Africa Christian Church and Schools, for the last 7 years ago. That is when I joined ministry. And I have not served before in another church. ACCNS has always been my church.
Okay.
That is where I serve. I was ordained as a young minister, and it was a beauty to join ministry, a holy calling in one way or the other, though it didn't come like an easy task.
Yes.
It was not a walk in the park. I was being prayed for by my grandmother. She would want the best out of it. But right now, when I look back 7 years ago and what I am right now, I thank God because of His faithfulness and grace. It has been grace that has carried me through.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Was she a clergy?
She was not a clergy. Apparently, my granddad was a clergy and would have this conversation where he would come and we would sing songs. He would teach us how to read the Bible. And, going to church was very mandatory in that house. And that is, in one way or the other, I would admire the life of being a clergy and how my grandmother would hold herself and, speak about ministry in vigorous way. I remember there was one moment when she said, we've been a meeting and we want women to be ordained. And that one was like a pusher for me, and I felt good for her having her in ministry. Though she worked from the backyard, she was like a minister to us.
Wow.
Yes,
a woman of faith indeed.
She was a woman of faith.
Great.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. And we thank God for her.
Yeah.
Because she has shaped us. For who
She
we
has
are
set a strong foundation for you.
Yes.
That's why you're here.
That is why I'm here today.
So you are an ordained, a licensed minister, or what stage are you according to the ACCS protocols or way of doing things? Yeah, what stage are you at?
Right now, I am a teaching elder. In ACCNS, we have 3 hierarchies or 3 levels of ordination. We have the first one, which is the teaching elder. Teaching elder comes after probation, internship probation kind of a time, where you are kept under someone, where they observe you and recommend you for ministry.
Yes.
So that time you are given your first ordination. We call it teaching elder. That is when you are given a collar, a black collar. The second level of ordination is a licentiate. And for the first level of ordination, you can only bury. That is the bare minimum. That is what you can do. And you can preach.
Okay.
Like you are serving under someone, so you can preach. You can do catechism classes. You are doing that one on behalf of the clergy on the ground, because you are working with this person being mentored into ministry.
So that's where you are right now.
Yes, that is where I am right now. The second part is the licentiate level. That is where a lot of activities come in. You can administer Holy Communion, you can baptize.
Officiate weddings?
You can't.
Oh, not yet.
Yes, you can't officiate marriages when you are licentiate. But most of the activities are done during that level. And that is when you are loved. You can only know that someone is a licentiate level if they are loved. The first one was you are given the collar, the black shirt, and then this time you are loved.
Okay.
Now the third one is the final level of ordination. We call it full ordination. Yes.
Full ordination.
Yes, I was looking for that name. It is called full ordination.
Yes.
Now with the full ordination, you are given a hood. Like on top of the robe, then there is something you will added a hood, and that one, by that time you can officiate marriages. That is the last level.
Okay.
For myself, right now I am a teaching elder.
Okay.
I preach. I serve with a parish minister right now, and as well as teaching in catechism classes where women are prepared for Holy Communion and for baptism of children. That is basically what I do as a minister.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Wow, quite a journey.
It is.
You're enjoying?
At first, I was not enjoying it.
Oh.
At first, it is a lot of task where you are told, we have women who are going for catechism classes, just prepare yourself. Where are the notes? There are no notes. Like, you have to go and look for notes. You come and teach them, prepare them well enough so that they can go for the other level. That is when I realized, in as much as I thought I didn't like it, it was something beautiful. You would interact with people, learning with them, and it became more of a session of talking, more than a conversation of a question and answer thing. It is not a class. We talk. Now, 7 years back, it was more of a class. You come, listen, you ask questions, they answer. But now that I have grown, I won't say that grown in it, but maybe along the process, I have learned that it is more of a conversation where you learn, you ask them questions like, why do you want to be catechism classes? Why do you want to be re-administered in Holy Communion? Like, why have you joined our church? Because we also have classes we call induction, where a new member come in our church, and because maybe our church is not known to many, and they've been invited to our church, then we take them through the process of understanding our church and its structure.
Maybe I take you back a bit. You've said about women joining the catechism classes.
Yes.
Don't we have men in your church who join the catechism classes?
Apparently. I don't know why, but in most cases we have women, actually, and young women who join catechism classes. And at times we even request them that you come with your husband, and they're like, no, let me do it for my child because I'm okay with that.
So is the husband left at in matters
of catechism classes?
Catechism, membership of the church? Where does it leave them?
One, it is a worrying part. It is true to say that it is worrying. Now that we've had a lot of women, because right now the class I'm in, I have 3 women who have joined just recently for catechism, and they're doing it for their children. And you'll hear them say, I'm okay, like I can do this one, and I'm going to help my husband understand what is really going on. And our second last class, we always request them to come so that they may understand their journey of what we've been doing. Although our prayer has always been, we have you as a couple that we may learn. And the last one has always been, you come with your husband and the godparent of this child is going to help them, and you walk the journey of salvation of this child. Yes. So do we have men? It is a worrying part. Do we want men to learn? We do want them to come. Yes, but apparently in most times, some do. Some do when the woman is not there, like when the mother is not there, when she's not in the picture. But in most cases, I've seen women sacrifice themselves, coming in the picture.
I think it's a challenge cutting across many churches, many denominations. But we pray and hope it's going to be addressed, and at least men will be drawn more to the church. Yeah.
Yes, and they feel it's comfortable. We don't judge them.
No,
It is
not at all.
a journey. Like we are trying to help this child who has come in the picture to understand that they have a future where their parents are going to walk with them through the journey of faith.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are very particular when we ask them, "Are you married?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm married." But where is the husband? They're like, "No, let us not talk about that one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's okay.
Thank you.
So Presbyterian Church of East Africa is every calendar year they have the women guilds, women's guild week, where the women carry out different activities, acts of mercy. They have projects, of course, evangelism. Does your church ACCS? Yeah. Does it have such?
We do.
You have a woman ministry.
We do have woman ministry, and we call it how do we call this one? Okay. ACCNS women. I hope that one will be cut.
It's okay.
Yeah, because I'm struggling to remember. We call it Women's Action. Yes, that
Women's
is
Action.
Yeah, that is what we call it, Women's Action. And mostly it's done in July. Like we know, either the first week of July or the second week of July. That is when we have the Women's Action Week. And during that time, they have acts of mercy as the Presbyterian Church, and we also have ministry, the almsgiving. We also do almsgiving, where we be even visiting out to the people who are sick. They also visit their clergy around that time, which is something beautiful. And each calendar year, they always have their guiding theme for each department. For the youth, they had their own. The Sunday school, they had their own. The Women Action still have their own. And in June, we'll be having the church choir having their week. Yes, yes.
Fantastic. So clearly we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, we share a lot in common.
It's okay.
Thank you.
So, Mary, let me understand. We are discussing GBV today.
Yes.
And you've worked as a clergy. So where did you experience GBV?
Okay. Being a young minister, I joined ministry when I was very young. It is good to say that. Immediately I was done in Form 4, I had a sitting with my grandparents where they wanted to know the future of me after I'm done with high school. For them, they wanted me to be a clergy, but deep down, I still felt that is a higher calling. In as much as I was called into it, I still had a lot to work on. Being young, by then I was 17, like 17-year-old.
Whoa.
I had not even taken my ID. Now I take my ID, they bring me in a sitting, and they tell me that you have to be a clergy, and we want you to be a clergy. And I told them, please give me time. I really have to think. And around that time is when you are young and you want to have a boyfriend and stuff like that. And they call you to this ministry where, I don't know, for some reasons, I thought it's being a nun. I didn't want to get married. I really did around that time. But going in ministry when I was that young, it didn't prepare me for what I was expecting. I thought I would get other young people that would interact with, like any other field. Like would talk, we are young people, we talk about issues of young people, talk about issues of relationship, talk about issues of identity crisis, because around that time, I didn't know what I wanted. Now they have placed a thing of being a clergy, but I want to be a nurse. So when I was done with the 2 years of studying and 1 year of practicum, like kind of probation, kind of an year, that is when I was taken to clergy. And in our church now, the percentage of male clergy is higher than female clergy. So it was not a guarantee that I would be serving under women. How I would talk about GBV at first, I did not have a name for it. It was not physical, so I cannot say that I experienced a physical kind of GBV. It was not sexual harassment. It was not, like I would not say that I was harassed or I was raped. That is not a term I would give it. But now mine, when it comes to the picture, I would say that mine was more of psychological and emotional and kind of economical thing at the same time. Emotional in the sense that at times I would fail to understand what was going on in the picture when your immediate boss or the one that you're working with closely wanted to be physical and get closure in you. And being raised up by my grandparents and my mother, and I would understand what that one was coming from. I would talk about hugging the hugger boss, but now with my boss, that was something different. I'm in ministry to be mentored, to help the other young people and other young women. But here I am with someone who wants something different. And that one was awkward. And I remember the first time it hit me that something is wrong. The following day, I received a cold shoulder. Like, you either hug me or not.
You refused.
I refused. I was young. I was naive. I was barely 21, 20, around there, 21, 20, 21. Around that time, I did not even have friends. Now, apparently in ministry, it is, I wouldn't say it's weird, but it's strange. At times, you don't know who you can trust.
Yeah.
And you are moved. In our churches, we have something we called transfers. You are moved from one place to the other. You are moved from one place to the other. Now you go to one place, then you get that your immediate boss, the one you're going to be working with, they already have friends.
Yes.
Who are you going to talk with? Their friends is also their friend. So you keep up with the story. By then, we were not talking with my sister. But right now, my sister is my greatest friend, and my mother as well. But around that time, I did not have anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
My grandmother was still in the picture, but I would not tell her what was really going on.
Correct.
She would not even understand it. And for her, it is, you have grown in ministry, you have seen your grandfather working, and there's nothing like that one.
So what are you telling me about?
Like, you cannot even convince me and tell me there's something like that is going on. So it was more of a psychological torture. If I don't hug you, then the following day I will not even know where we are going for work. If I don't talk to you nicely, and actually it started with something small, where a good compliment, and I thought it was a compliment, and being young, I thought, and everyone can comment on you and how you dress and you are comfortable with it. But that one slowly opened a door of asking for more, like asking for more. And if you didn't reciprocate for that, then you were the bad person. And when I pushed back and I went silent and I went cold, remember, I'm not even ordained yet. So
you're on internship.
Yes, I'm still on internship.
And the person who you're working under is a clergy.
He's a clergy, yes. He's a clergy.
A clergyman.
The Holy Ministry, he's a clergy.
Oh, okay.
And it was tough. I did not want to tell anyone.
Even your expectations? You didn't expect that?
Yeah, I did not. I wanted a safe place where I would be told, you're not doing the right thing, please step up. But right now, I have an issue of insecurities. But who would I tell? No one. Talking it to my mother, she would remind me. I remember there was time I remember telling my mom, I want to go back to doing nursing. I think I am not fit here. The imposter syndrome was coming out very strongly, where you would be treated coldly, but the people in the congregation, they are like, you are our clergy, we will bring all our problems to you, but what are you even telling us? In one of our catechism classes, I remember there's a lady who shared her story of how she became a parent, and it stuck to me. And I was like, I guess this is what is exactly happening to me. It's only that I cannot share, but I'm here to encourage you and to pray. That is
but deep down in your heart,
I'm paining and I'm hurting, but I cannot say.
So you have to mask everything.
I do have. And I began to have a journey of going to church, praying, and telling God what I'm feeling, and journaling it down. I would write it down, and I would not want anyone to see it. So the next thing I would do, when I pray about the whole thing, taking it to church, praying about it, I would feel like there's a burden of me that has been lifted. But this one cannot continue until either you change an environment or something is happening. So way later, I confined with one of our workmates, where we shared a story of how ministry is for young people. And I don't know why I busted, but I had a lot of emotions that I had not spoken out. And speaking out was the only way for me to heal. I had not realized that before. So when I spoke out, I realized, I don't know whether it was a test or it was me trying to prove that I was still retaining my dignity or principles, but I noted there was something like a test that was happening. There was a statement that we even didn't know how you were surviving when you were serving under this person.
Allah.
But from that moment, when I realized there is a name that I can call it GBV, but an emotional one and psychological one, where I would withdraw from people. I would tell my sister, this is a day of smiling to the people. Let me go out there and I smile, then I'll come back here and I will sleep. That is how it was bad. Economically, okay. ministry is nice
Yeah.
when you're working with someone, and it can be traumatic when you're also working with someone. When you have some back and forth with someone, when you don't even understand what is really going on, and you're the best person who is going to lose now that you've joined ministry just the other day, and the others have been in ministry for a long time, you're the one who stand a chance to lose.
Of course.
So what I did, oh my God, okay. So what I did, I remember talking. Okay, that one has been forgotten. Oh my God, can we go for a break? Or it is very
Okay, let's
small?
carry on.
Okay.
So, Matters GBV.
Thank you.
Again, other than the hug, and you came to learn later because your mentor was becoming cold because of a hug. Did he go an extra mile to frustrate you, to show you if you don't give in to my demands, this is what happens?
Okay.
Did you encounter more of his cold shoulder, if you may call it?
Okay. Thank you for reminding me where I was. It was not just a hug. It was more of a conversation of comments, a threat. Like, you cannot do anything to me. I will continue treating you the way I want, and I'm the only one who is going to give you a hand transfer to be transferred to another place.
Okay.
And you'll be very surprised around that time I had more than 3 that were coming my way, but they did not even land on my desk. So he dismissed them in one way or the other. Another way I remember was one particular evening. We were done with work, and when we were done with the work, he was very aggressive, very, very aggressive. Like, you really have to. And I didn't know about why should I even be forced to hug someone? It is normal. Like, you hug someone because he's your friend, but now you're working with someone who is a boss, like someone who is closer, and someone who is closer to the office. That is what we would say.
Was this a married person?
Okay.
How old was this person?
Okay.
Because now they've seen a young girl, and at one point you had the chance to go look for a boyfriend, but you didn't get the chance. Yeah.
He was married. Yeah, he was married, and apparently we are almost the same age with the first daughter. Yeah.
Okay.
And would joke about that you know, we are like family friends. I have a sister now, and maybe the son can be a good potential husband now that I don't have a boyfriend and I'm not even married.
In fact, you can be my father-in-law.
Yeah, you can be my father-in-law or something.
Wow.
But that one was even more, making him more us and making him
You were
more
provoking
angry.
him.
Yeah, I was. And I didn't know. I think that was the best way I would do to try and neutralize what was really going on.
Yes.
Other than trying to provoke him a lot, and the next minute you'll be sent to a place where you're not even comfortable, and economically you'll be drained. So that is exactly what was happening.
Okay.
So it may not, at times they were words. You'll be treated coldly today, but the next time you feel like you belong somewhere. Yes, that is what was happening.
So on emotional turmoil, let me take this.
It's okay.
On emotional turmoil, how are you able to progress on? Because you know you're in a state of, you're not in a very well state of mind, because you don't know what will happen to you, what is your fate, as long as you're under this supervisor or your mentor. What was going through your head at the time? Yeah.
At that time, not once or twice I thought of like shifting and going back, like pulling back from ministry. But now I remember going into prayers a lot. Around that time, I don't know why pain has a way of taking us back to God. So apparently I was finding myself praying a lot. And my sister coming in the picture would talk a lot, like would joke a lot about everything. But when it comes to ministry, would not talk about ministry very well. And when I started crying it out, you know, telling God, this is what is happening to me, and I cannot even tell it to someone because I don't have evidence. Like, what do you have to show us that this is exactly what is happening? I think that is when I started understanding I have a healing to do, and maybe my inner child was hurt, like deeply hurt. So I took an initiative of taking time for myself. When we are done with ministry, and when I'm not even working, I would go to church. Like I had a routine of going to church. Like I would pray, speaking it out, trying to tell God, you have to remind me why you called me and why you called me when I was very young and when I was not married.
Okay, before we progress on, we are going to take a very short break.
Thank you.
When we come back, you're going to understand whether everything she went through, the emotional abuse, whether stopped her from carrying on with the ministry, or you stopped at one point, or you decided, okay, I'm going to face it head on.
It's okay.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Start your day with inspiration and purpose. An opportunity to ignite your spirit, uplift your soul, and set the tone for a fulfilling day.
To rely on God and to wait on God, to trust in God, and never to waver, never to be shaken by what is happening around.
We invite you to embark on this sacred journey through inspiring sermons, prayers, and hymns.
What has been taken away from us, He is ready to lift us to another level. As we talk about the Lord's restoration, He is ready to repair.
Let it be your guiding light, leading you towards a deeper connection with your spirituality.
What matters is you don't go back one. You go forward, and you receive your mountain.
Tune in to the morning devotion, and starting from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on CAC TV Signet, and live on Facebook and YouTube at CAC TV Kenya.
Welcome back. In studio, our guest is Reverend Mary Mwangi.
Yes.
Yes, a clergy with the ACC and S.
Yes.
Not
yes.
ACCS. ACC and S. And we were discussing about gender-based violence, GBV. And she experienced it firsthand. And it was an emotional turmoil for her. It was an emotional experience for her while she was serving as an intern under a clergy. So, Mary, we were at a point where you needed to speak out.
Yeah.
You felt overwhelmed
Yes,
by emotions. You felt like you could burst out. But you really needed this internship.
It's true.
So who was the first person you confided in?
Good thing is, my sister came in the picture. Before she was not in the picture. We started living with my sister.
Okay.
And I had to...
An older sister? Younger?
No, actually she was younger than me.
Oh, younger than you.
Yes, and apparently she's my best friend. Like, we talk. I think pain brought us together. And around that time, that is when I was really struggling and suffering to understand what was going on. So at one moment, I told my sister, like, something is really up.
Yes.
We'd wake up in the morning, would go running, would go jogging, and it was like normal. But before I really opened up, I really wanted to know whether it was safe for me to say it, like speak it out to my sister. And she was okay with it. And she would pray for me. Like, that was a beautiful thing. She would pray for me. And still, it was still continuing. You know, I'm just telling my sister, yes, it is helping in one way or the other because I've spoken it out, but there's still some pain in me. I really wanted someone else with authority to understand what was going on. In one particular evening, when we were having a gathering of clergy who are awaiting ordination and stuff, in one of my presentation, I busted out when we were talking about the issues that we go through as ministers and young ministers. In that moment, it created some attention in one way or the other. So I tried talking to my friend, but I thought that she was not the best person to speak to. Now, the following day, I had to confide with one of our referents, and he was very optimistic, and he listened to my story. But still, I felt there's something a lot that needed to be done. I really had to understand there's someone who is hearing, like there's someone who understands and someone who really cares. That is what I was looking for. And along the process, I started speaking it out. At one moment, when we were helping someone, a young girl who had gone through rape, assault by a close relative, I remember telling my sister I should be reporting my case. But my sister asked me, what will you tell them? You don't even have the evidence to show that this is exactly what was going on. So when I was helping that lady who had gone through GBV and hers was sexual harassment, I started understanding there are people who have gone through it and they don't know how to confide in people. And when they have someone in the picture who knows what is really going on, it shaped them differently. So my sister came in the picture, then I had to confide with a clergy, and later I started making comic about the same story.
So all this while, you've told your sister, you've involved a clergy, but you didn't tell your mom?
No.
Why?
My mother would have killed me. Okay. I know she would not have like killed me. But I think she would have reminded me that this is not where I belonged. I belonged into nursing. I would help people, helping patients. I would not even talk to them, but that is where I belong. But now I'm called into a ministry, a holy ministry. Plus, remember, I am called into ministry. Was I saved around that time? I don't think I was really saved. Like really saved. Salvation comes with where are you born? You're born with clergy, like your grandfather is a clergy, and you go to church all the time. So basically, everyone thinks you're saved. But deep down, there's a void in me. And I did not tell my mother because I did not want to frustrate her. I did not want to frustrate her.
She'd be worried for you.
I am a firstborn. And firstborn,
the expectations.
You have to raise the
firstborn
bar.
Girl.
Yes. You have to raise your bar high. And you have gone into a field where it's known for men. Now, what are you even telling me? Please.
But still, didn't you feel I needed to let it out?
To my mother.
I need to tell mom what's happening to me, really. Should there be? Should it get any worse?
Let me tell you something. This is the first time my mother will be listening about it. She has never had me say about it.
It's okay, mom. Don't spank her. She's come a long way.
She has come a long way. That is true. The reason as to why I did not tell my mother is because I did not have a name to say
for that.
I did not have a thing like to say this is exactly what is going on, and it would have broken them, my mom and my dad.
I know.
Now that I have been into ministry and they have seen how I've been and the whole journey, it would have broken them.
Did you feel intimidated by the whole situation?
Yes, I did not share that.
So basically, you were after the trophy.
Basically yes and no at the same time. Yes, in the sense that is exactly what they wanted me to do. Like my grandmother, like she really fought for this.
Yes.
Like, for women to be ordained. Here you are, you have come a long way. So the best thing you can do for yourself, just get ordained first, then the rest we can deal
We'll
with
deal
it.
Wow.
Yeah, then the rest we can deal with it. So that is one. And second part is I do not want the being a young clergy, a young person who is talking nice to everyone, who is very good. In most cases, you attract a lot of young people and young girls as well. I guess I was to be strong for them as well. So that is what kept me moving and going forward. Yes.
So was the issue addressed at the higher level?
Was it addressed? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I got someone who listened and did not judge me. And around that time, we had other added ministers coming in the picture and transferred from one place to another. But that one did not heal the child that was hurt. Because I believe when we talk about being assisted and issue being addressed is sitting down with the perpetrator, helping them understand that whatever is going on, it is you are hurting another person who cannot even voice out. And around this time, you cannot speak to a congregant telling them that this is what is going on, because in one way or the other they saw, and they would even tell me there's something off with this person, but I don't know what we can do about this one. And our prayer is wherever you will go, maybe when a transfer comes, you'll be treated better. That is what they would say. And I still believe there's a lot to be done. When people speak out, they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking out for others. There are others who want their voices to be heard. And for this holy ministry, for everyone to feel that they are safe and they belong, I think it all comes with one person. One person speaking out before worse comes to us. I would talk about someone from Judges 19. When I read that verse, when I read that chapter for the first time, I did not understand. But when I went through emotional challenge of GBV and psychological torture of it, when I did not have a name for it, reading Judges 19 comes and it is clear to me now. Before we get someone who has been raped, and where someone has been cut into pieces and their pieces are thrown everywhere, before we get there, so for people to speak, I believe that speaking out and telling them, pointing out, and calling a spade, that is exactly what I was looking for. But apparently it would not have been addressed that way. And our system being a structure of councils where the men are in the picture, an issue of women coming in the picture will be the bad person. You are the one who is going after. I believe listening to the other side of the story really matters a lot.
It does. It does. Now, when I was talking to you earlier, you told me you're a student.
I am a student.
At St. Paul's University.
Yes.
And on Thursdays, you do have the
TAB, Thursdays in Black.
Thursdays in Black. How has it, over the years, has it, have you seen probably students who are still there, or your colleagues who've gone through it? Has it helped? Yeah, the Thursdays in Black here.
Okay, yes, it has. We call it we have a circle of concerned women theologian, where we care. Like, you are in a space because we believe your story really matters. We want to understand the other side of the story. Like, not just reading from that one script, we want to understand the other side of the coin. In that space, I've seen women healed. You voice out. We call it, there is one narrative, a methodology, we call it narratology or oratory, where you speak out, and in the moment of speaking out, at the point of speaking out, you are healed. It has really helped me and help the others who have, in one way or the other, gone through GBV. So it has been a safe space where you are not judged by anyone. It is an open space. And thankfully, we have one, Professor Mombo. And the moment I knew her, I thought she's just a professor. When we are in campus, there are professors, they just teach you and just leave. But at that moment, I realized there's someone who really saw and would listen, and they would give you a shoulder to lean on and tell you that you are not wrong. You were abused either physically, emotionally, sexually, or psychologically, or even economically, because there are people who have been abused that way. It is okay to feel that pain, but you cannot just feel that pain and leave it that way. You have something to do. You still have a voice.
Yes.
You either write it down through articles, and we have a lot of articles of women who have voiced whatever is going on and whatever has happened, and calling out, you know, calling out the uncalled. And through the process, women have been healed, and young people as well.
Such a good forum.
Yes, she is, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Now, you're a single lady.
Okay.
And I'm sure at one point,
Yeah.
God willing, you'll get a spouse.
It's true.
So has this whole experience made you have a totally different or a negative perspective towards men? Of course, the clergymen, potential boyfriends or husbands out there.
Okay.
Do you feel the fear? Do you feel, I'm not sure whether this man is genuine, I'm not sure whether he wants, whatever he is after, is what I really went through?
Okay. Can be two answers. One, yes, and no at the same time. Yes, in the sense that I am very skeptical when it comes to any comment, you know, any flattery, any conversation. Even when someone is friendly to me, I am like, I really have to see it through and almost even report you to my sister. Like, we really have to discuss you. But on the other side, no. I still believe, and this is what I have grown now to see, that not all men are the same. Actually, you cannot just put them in one basket and say that all of them are evil. It is just one person who did something like that, hurt me when I was young, and when I expected someone to hold my hand when I was doing ministry work, and as well as it has helped me heal. Before, I was skeptical. I was like, no, I'm not even ready for any relationship and stuff. But in the process of healing, I have really understood and trying to seek the will of God. At times, we may see as if it's not the right thing to do. But God has a way of taking us through pain for a reason. Looking at the young girl in me when I was joining ministry when I was very, very young, and the woman I am right now, I would say that those are two different people. I think God had a way of preparing me into ministry, taking me back and making me understand and go through the pain of physical, emotional, psychological pain to understand the ministry that He has called me into. In this ministry, I'm not called for the young people alone. I'm not called for women alone. I'm also called for men and the young men as well. And I'm also called for widowed men as well, you know. And I think through my healing and through my understanding that something had happened to me, I listen and I see them as one, people who are willing to do anything to face and maybe to seek the forgiveness of God and maybe to go to heaven one day, and as well as knowing that there are people who might be hurting others without even knowing. So this is what I do, and I still believe that whatever happened and whatever I went through, maybe to him, he did not understand. He did not know that it was hurting and it was paining me until the moment I realized myself something was off. So until a person tells them that this is exactly what you're doing to me, if I spoke about it then, it would not have progressed for a long time and maybe I would not have been hurt. But in one way or the other, I appreciate the pain. I think God had a reason for that pain. I'm still open to relationships. I still do that, and God has given me a lot of love to share, like giving it to people to say, you don't have to hurt someone to make them feel seen. You can just appreciate who they really are. Yes, the love of Christ is too much for everyone.
Indeed.
Yes, even for the perpetrators.
Correct.
Yes, the love of God is still there.
Now,
and still abundant.
Talking of the perpetrator, you will be ordained. You'll be licensed.
Yes.
And it's a small world.
It is a small world.
If you happen to be posted to a place where he's ministering, how do I phrase it? Would that arouse emotions just by thinking, I'm working here with you again? I'm in the same space with you again. Of course, there was forgiveness,
There was forgiveness.
but emotions, would you be aroused?
Okay.
Would it evoke now the pain? Not the pain, really, the emotions. Yeah.
I won't say that it won't in one way or the other, but I have a feeling that stepping back and not triggering my emotion will do the best.
Yeah.
Where you don't confront the person right now, because I've gone through phases, and where I understand that even for him as who he is, and maybe he even don't know that there was something like that was going on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do my best to keep my distance. I don't know how that one can happen. I don't know how that one can happen because it's not a guarantee.
Yes.
But I have a feeling that it can arouse some emotions and feeling maybe of fear, and, maybe trying to run away from the truth, or maybe trying to justify whatever happened that time and why I was very cold, or even to trying to reach out and understand his side of the story, of which I'm not even comfortable to talk about that right now.
Okay. All right. We just wish you the best.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right. As we wind up, how has your experience influenced your relationship with the congregants, with the people you relate with at the ground level?
Okay, thank you, and that is a good question. To say the truth, pain relates with pain. I have moved from pain, but I understand your pain. When someone talks to me and tells me what is really going on, I don't just listen. I have another inner ear that is listening from a point of understanding. When I'm preaching, I don't just preach for the sake of preaching. By then I would joke about preaching and stuff, but now being hurt psychologically, I preach from a point of where my heart really would feel that this is where God is speaking, understanding their pain. And I think also, in one way or the other, it has opened a door for others to come in and see that someone can move out of this pain and you can still work on yourself. Like, you really don't have to continue working and moving in one place. You can also move to the other level, understanding who you really are. Also, it has helped me to open up into spaces, and thankfully the school, the institution as St. Paul's itself, it has given me a voice to speak out. And if I continued to live in that cocoon of just ministry and ministry alone, where I would come home, go to church, come from church, then go to maybe ushirika or something, then come back home, I think that cycle would have broken me. But now going to school, an institution that is very radical, where your faith, you even question what you believe in, and you even question your salvation, like what is really salvation, and meeting with people who question things differently and see and perceive things differently. I think that is exactly what has really helped me to move forward. And I appreciate that people are still there and they really want to speak out, and they will continue doing it in one way or the other to help another generation. Because I still have a belief and a prayer that one day, one time, we'll have all this story coming up, and done with the perpetrators, where they will see and perceive the other brother as a brother, the other sister as a sister. Because I believe when we talk about GPV, it is not just women, men as well. So men will confide in me, and we'll talk about it. We'll see what is the best thing we can do. There's one scholar who always used to say, you cannot control whatever is happening outside, but you can control what you are going to do next as a person. So I believe that when we speak out as people, when we see that we've not done something wrong, and we don't justify the mistake that was done to us, and we seek for help going forward, I think we are going to raise a generation that is going to be accepting God.
Okay.
Yes.
So, finally, there are so many women who are joining the Holy Ministry.
Yes.
Some are single, some are married, and we have very young women who are joining. What would you tell them? Because you never know, they could be going through same thing, maybe worse. what would you tell them? Maybe you first start this camera.
Okay.
Yeah, one word for those joining the Holy Ministry,
Okay.
those who are in the process of being sent out to the parishes, joining the parishes, joining the congregations, those who have gone through the ordinations and licensing. Now they're going to face the real world out there.
Ministry.
Yeah. So what do you have them? What do you have for them?
All right. This is what I will tell you. Beautiful ladies, God called you for a reason. And you are not a mistake in ministry. Because if God wanted to create you a male, he would. But he has called you as a woman for a reason. There are women out there who are willing to listen to your story. There are women out there who want to be encouraged, motivated, and they're going to be mirroring themselves through you. You are a voice of reason. You are a voice of understanding. You are a voice of encouragement to them. Do not give up. Ministry is not a walk in the park, by the way. I wish someone told me that earlier. But going forward, my prayer is you may remember who called you. Even when it is worse, when it is hard, you have God. You can always remember calling him and reminding him and actually telling him to speak it again to you to understand why he called you into that holy ministry. It is holy ministry, but you'll be working with men who have blood and flesh. And remember to keep your your discipline and your principle, because it is holy for a reason. May God bless you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There you have it.
Thank you.
Heard from the horse's mouth.
Thank you so
Reverend Mary Mwangi, who's gone through GBV, emotionally tortured, psychologically tortured, to a point of she felt like she would give up, but her grandmother, who's also your mentor at one point,
Yes, she has been.
really pushed her, and she couldn't tell her mother,
It's
but
true.
she confided in her younger sister.
It's true.
So GBV is there. People are being abused, right, left, center, and you have a voice.
It's true.
If you're able to speak about it, let's speak about GBV. Let's fight against GBV. I've been your host, Karo Mushiri. This is the Women's Guild Week. Have a blessed evening. Asante sana for keeping us company.
Thank you.
Have a
thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
I
coming.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Amore tuomo ujema wega make